All right, so when it comes to groundwater seepage into your crawl space, there's three primary causes. First being a rising water table, basically just as the soil in your crawl space gets saturated, continues to do so, and ultimately there's no place for the water to go once the soil is overly saturated, so it starts rising above soil level, and that's where you can get standing water. Another one of the contributing problems is the crawl space is often lower than the final grade of your house. As we know, water is always going to go down and to the path of least resistance. So the fact that your footings and crawl space is below grade makes it kind of a prime location for water to flow to. And then ultimately, as those two issues occur, water gets trapped in the crawl space and doesn't have a way to exit. Crawl spaces aren't really designed with that idea in purpose. The goal is to keep water out best it can, but if and when water does get in your crawl space, there's not really a way to get it out except going down and manually removing it. Historically, a couple options for repair. There's exterior drainage or just putting in a French drain. That is, can be somewhat effective, but it's not a long-term solution. It's also really invasive and disruptive. So any porches, decks, patio, any, plants, bushes, anything like that would have to be removed because we would end up digging a huge trench around the perimeter of your house to install that drain, and typically it will not come with any warranty, and we find that those will fail within 5 to 7 years. You can regrade, which on the surface makes sense. The idea is, all right, let's slope our final grade of our landscape or whatever, sloping away from the property, away from our house. That way the water can't get in the crawl space. And again, that makes sense, but it only addresses surface water runoff. And in theory, regardless of where that landscape is grading to, water can still get in around your footings and ultimately into your crawl space. Folks also will do open sumps or like DIY sumps off Amazon. Those are an appealing option because they're cheap, they're quick to install comparatively to having a professional out to doing it, but they're just lack efficacy and long-term success. They're really prone to fail, and if you take a look at this picture here, there is nothing that is pushing this water into this sump pump. It is only capturing the water that it can touch. So as water gets lowered, or if this is a big crawl space and say we have 50 feet this way, that water isn't going to be addressed with an open sump pump like this. So groundwork solution is what we call, it's kind of a two-part solution, what we call our AquaStop qual drain system, and in tandem with our triple sump pump system. And basically what this looks like is you would go through, dig a trench inside your crawl space and install one of our corrugated pipes that would act as the drain system, which would ultimately funnel that water into the sump pump. A couple cool things about our drain is it's wrapped in a geotechnical aggregate product, meaning that soil, mud, junk that would clog up your drainage system isn't going to do that. It'll keep all that out, and it helps water flow a lot faster than a typical pump. Our sump pump is a three-in-one pump, so you're protected from the three major failures that can cause a pump failure. One being just mechanical failure, two being overuse or excessive rain, the pump can't keep up and it just burns out or overflows because there's just too much water to keep up with, and power outage. So we have a backup battery system in there that if the power were to go out during a heavy storm, that would kick on, can run for 72 hours, and pump, I believe, around 10,000 gallons of water. And if all three of those, for whatever super unlikely scenario were to come up and fail, there's a battery system, or there's an alert system that would go off and alert you, to either get out of your house because there is so much water coming in that it's, just basically not safe for you to be there anymore, or to, try and go down and manually assist with the problem. But at that point, it is probably time to look at other options. So our drain system connects to this pump, and then we would pump the water outside of your house into a yard well, where that water would disperse around your yard away from your property.